Laser training guns are used in interactive simulations since the mid-80s. In these systems, a camera is facing a projector wall or a display and looks either for visible or infrared laser dots. The camera's video stream is monitored by a computer, which translates the laser dots to shots at specific coordinates and feeds the information to the simulation program, which reacts and adapts the video output, which is sent to the projector or display accordingly. Pioneering companies, for example, were FATS, which was founded by Formula 1 champion Jody Scheckter, and iCAD, which was founded by Robert Greeby, who later went on to found American Laser Games. These simulations were just for law enforcement and military forces. The particular interest of people to have such a system at home and the happy faces of the people playing the simulations was a major influence to Mr. Greeby to leave his company and make interactive light gun games instead. In the early noughties, so-called laser bore sighters became more and more popular. They are devices which are put into the barrel or chamber of a gun and emit laser light. People use them to set up sights and optics precisely. At some point they fused with another popular firearms item called snapcap. A snapcap is a fake cartridge which is used for dry fire and reloading training. There are snapcaps which have a buffered plate at the bottom where the primer would be in order to spare the firing pin. The fusion of laser bore sighter and snapcap could be set into a mode which would release a short pulse of light whenever they were struck by the firing pin, or the sound of the firing pin was sensed. They were used in dry fire training. The system was received very well and spread wide, but not yet very fast. The thing is that this system still heavily relied on usage of real firearms. Some systems were compatible with certain airsoft guns, but many countries also have harsh restrictions on these. The breakthrough came in 2013 when LaserLyte released the Trigger Time pistol, which was a plastic training handgun which accepted the same laser dry fire training inserts as real firearms before. Success and popularity led to the release of a successor pistol in 2015, which had the laser already built in. In principle, these training devices were vastly predated by the so-called SIRT pistols, which were released not later than 2009 by Next Level Training. However, much like the 80s training devices, the SIRT was targeted to law enforcement and military forces, or at least very competitive or professional marksmen. Therefore, in my opinion, it did not start the flood of laser training guns in households, but rather took benefit from it and got wider known because of it. In 2016, Smart Firearms, which has a long tradition of highest quality training pistols, stepped into the market of laser training pistols. With laser training guns now being readily available and already being used by thousands of people, it became feasible to release interactive software for the home market and arcade-like environments. Many different software offerings appeared on the market. A very notable early program is Homeless Bullet-Free Shooting Hit Analyzer made by Labix in 2013. It is free and open source. It was done primarily as a tool for target range training, but this great program can be set up to forward the coordinates of the shots in real time to other programs and demonstrates this with an interactive game. In this footage I show how the shot information is handled in the background. In my opinion, a breakthrough occurred in 2014 when Caliber Simulation released their so-called smokeless range. This is because of the modular nature of the software. A dedicated program is monitoring the shots and translates this to mouse locations and clicks. Therefore, the software titles of Caliber Simulation are all compatible to mouse mimicking light guns, and the possibility to use laser training guns for other light gun software opens, but more on that matter later. In 2015, the open source and free software shoot-off was done. It is multi-platform and very capable. Besides basic shooting training, the software offers lots of interactive modes and best of all a feature which translates the shots to mouse clicks, similarly as smokeless range does. In the same year, a company called LaserShot, which was primarily involved with simulation for law enforcement and military forces, released their so-called sim range, which was seemingly also targeted to the home market. Sadly, LaserShot has refused the communication to me, and therefore I am forced to piece all information on LaserShot products together myself, and I am not able to show a lot of visual material of the offerings, as I won't receive any answer as of how much of their promotional material I may use in my review. Because of that, I am using substitute visual material during segments I am speaking of them. From what I can see, their system is also based on translation to mouse locations and clicks, but sadly I can't test it for myself. It seems that they in practice don't sell software to non-US locations, as they apparently force customers to select the word non as state region description, but then check the registered address against the address associated with the used credit card. Payment is just possible if the two addresses match. Therefore, it seems that foreign customers are out of luck as long as they live in a state or region which isn't literally called none. As of making this review, I am not aware of any other program capable of translating laser dot locations into mouse positions and clicks, and I highly encourage every capable programmer to think about doing one. Alternatively, emulator authors could try to make the software compatible to the shot information generated by the homeless hit analyzer. I tested shoot-off and the caliber simulation software with a wide variety of software to see how compatible they are. Most flash games are compatible with these programs and control fine, no matter whether they are played from a web browser or a flash player. Sadly, very few computer games were compatible with these mouse translators. Very notable emulators which make 8-bit light gun games playable, such as FCÖ, Altera Wise and Freeze SMS, are not capable to receive the shots. Besides programs which are not capable to move the cursor or release the shot properly in conjunction with the discussed mouse translators, there is another group of incompatible games. During calibration, a certain resolution is used. If the game switches to a different resolution, the position will be off and the sensitivity will be wrong. Of course, there are fixes for this problem, but currently none of these is implemented in the laser training softwares. In direct comparison of shoot-off and smokeless range, the latter is easier to set up. However, sadly it is just available bundled together with other costly software. This pushes the price into the $400 range, which is very unfortunate. In general, the necessary items for a laser shooting simulation can be obtained for a reasonable price. A fast infrared capable USB camera can be bought for $35, and I was able to get an ultra short throw projector shipped to me for less than $100. The author of Homeless Bullet-Free Shooting published instructions and plans to do a compatible gun controller for very little money. Furthermore, he published 3D printer templates for the so-called Pi 1 gun. In this last portion, I am speaking about commercially available self-contained laser training guns I am aware of. The current LaserLyte pistols can be obtained in two automatic pistol designs which look distinct but are roughly equal in size to either a Glock 19 or a Smith & Wesson Shield pistol. Furthermore, a revolver variant exists. In my opinion, these guns look and feel very nice. Weight and texture are great. The biggest advantage of these guns is their price, as these are by far the cheapest self-contained laser training guns. The downsides are the mechanical noise at firing, the trigger, and that the gun just can be bought with visible red lasers and not with infrared lasers. I own a LT TTL and the trigger feels like the trigger of a very bad double-action revolver. It will hurt the finger after frequent use. Furthermore, the trigger resets rather late, thus forcing the player to bring the finger very far back after every shot. The SFTD guns of Smart Firearms are of outstanding quality. In regards of trigger feeling, weight and surface texture, they feel like real firearms. They are offered in two designs. One is similar to a Smith & Wesson M&P, whereas the other one is pretty similar to a Glock 17. They feature a removable magazine and a built-in speaker, which can be set up to indicate shots. They are powered by two CR123 cells. The guns use Hall effect switches in the trigger, which are known in the typist community for being the most reliable kind of switch in the world. The laser is very accessible and can be switched in less than a minute. The distinctive feature of the Smart Firearms gun is a detector in the trigger area which emits a sound if the finger is inside the trigger group, but not on the trigger. It shall be either outside or firmly at the trigger, which is an important topic during firearms training. This feature can be disabled, however, if needed. Similar to the SFTD guns, the SIRT gun can be bought as Smith & Wesson and M&P or Glock 17 look-alike. From what I have heard, the trigger feels even nicer than the one of the SFTD guns, and it can be fine adjusted by the user. Sadly, I have been told the trigger was not as durable as the ones of the SFTD guns. Furthermore, the laser stays on as long as the trigger is kept pressed, which could cause problems during gameplay as multiple shots can be registered because of this. The guns are also powered by two CR123 cells. Sadly, there is very little information on the laser shotguns. I pieced together some information, but this doesn't have to be accurate. Historically, LaserShot didn't seem to produce the training pistols themselves. They sold SIRT guns, and other than that, apparently they took real firearms and combined them with dry-fire cartridges from other vendors such as Laser Ammo. The latter of course needed a federal firearms license and were much more expensive than laser training guns offered by other companies. They called this their sim range, but not later than 2018 they finally introduced their first self-contained laser training pistol called Sim 17, and afterwards they retroactively changed the name of the old sim range to iNerd. In my opinion, this is not the smartest decision, as now there are two Sim 17 models. One spelled as one word and one separated by a space. One presumably was a real firearm and the other one not. The new Sim 17 is made to look and feel like a Glock 17. Its advantages are a movable slide and the fact that it is powered by ordinary AA cells. A disadvantage is the price point, as the Sim 17 is the most expensive amongst the self-contained laser training pistols I show in this review. I would love if the trend of home shooting simulations went on and fused with gaming. As of now, Shoot-Off and the Caliber software program are not well suited for many games of other vendors. I was however excited to research this topic and make my own tests. I tried my LCD television in conjunction with anti-reflection foil and it worked nicely. Furthermore, I have built a magazine heel with additional buttons using a thumb board and a SNES controller. In my opinion, laser training guns are certainly usable as gaming controllers, and I think it is a matter of time until somebody writes a more compatible software. Of course, it has to be kept in mind that most of the shown guns produce single shots of light and therefore would act as semi-automatic weapon in video games. A custom gun or a SIRT pistol has to be used if the controlled game uses a machine gun. iFightback, which I reviewed in episode 41, slowly started to include laser tracking functions, which gives me hope that eventually more people will offer suitable mouse translators. This is the end of the review. My name is Ben. I thank you for viewing.